All right, so we're recording now. Like I said, I'm outside, so there's going to be all kinds of random noise. That's fine. Everyone can hear me just fine, right? Yes. All right. Good. Okay. So we're going to talk about trunk. We're going to talk about futures. We're going to talk about some basic military strategy and how we win. For those of you who don't know, my name is Bankteller. I am a former chess champion. And this is chess with money. So unlike chess where you just lose a game, it might cost you money at the highest of levels, but it's not going to really cost you that much money. And not versus the kind of games we're playing. So we are in an extended chess game, and now we are in endgame. We're going into endgame. We're pretty much in endgame. I'll start by saying this. Remember when I told you guys the elephant would be money? The elephant would be used as collateral to borrow cash. Why is that important? Well, as someone in retail, or even as a business, in most countries, loans are not taxable. It's not a taxable event. You're not selling an asset, right? You're not liquidating an asset for profit. You're just literally leveraging an asset to borrow at some fixed or variable interest rate that you have to pay back. So what is a loan? A loan is a liability. You only pay taxes on the acquisition of assets. Okay? So that's why these things work this way. That's why Michael Saylor fought as hard as he did and lobbied as hard as he did to literally get the rules changed so that not just Bitcoin, but all crypto assets could be held on the balance sheet of businesses, contributing to their book value, contributing to their basic worth, mark to market. So that's where we're starting from. So I said I would get it done, and now it's done. It was an elephant, but we learn a lot of things along the way, don't we? And there's a time, a season for everything. The point is that you have to be agile. You have to be nimble. You have to think on your feet. You have to understand the ebbs and flow of business. People who stay stuck will lose. If you don't respond to the changes on the board, you'll lose. If you're not setting the tone on the board, you will lose. If you're getting dragged by the nose, you will lose. I think people sometimes, well, why not elephant? Well, why not futures? Why not this? Why not that? Why not NFTs? Well, the conditions have changed. And as a strategist, master strategist at that, you got to change with the times. Got to change with the times. And hopefully your long-term plan, your super long-term plan, your fundamentals, your base hypotheses, those stay true. So what's the game here? The game is to create a money that's controlled by a community. Mute yourself if you're not talking, please. The goal is to create a money that's controlled by a community and not necessarily by the breadth of the macro environment, global macro environment. A money that's community-led. Okay, so we got to start with a base. Well, one of the base assumptions that we've always made is that these things called stablecoins are pretty good. Bitcoin was a nice trick. But as a practicing computer scientist with degrees from MIT and Boston University, business degrees, by the way, not just technical degrees, former CTO of Fidelity, I contributed to one of the longest running institutional foreign exchange trading platforms in the world at State Street. That my code's still running. It does trillions of dollars in volume a week. Okay? I understand the flow of money. That's the problem I'm trying to solve. Even a simple contract like P3D, one of the first decentralized contracts on Ethereum. I participated in that. I played it. I analyzed the code. I deconstructed it. I fixed it. Right? It was P3D was one of the first financial cooperatives on chain. You bought tokens. They had a basically parabolic pricing function. You could sell the tokens. You bought and sold tokens for Ethereum. Ethereum in, Ethereum out. Sound familiar? The problem, and there was a tax, 10% in, 10% out. And that was paid to the token holders as a dividend. Where's the problem in that design? The parabolic pricing function. Because of the parabolic pricing function, people get dumped on. And that's what you see with whether it's an order book or whether it's an automated market maker, the outcome is the same. Early participants dump on later participants. By removing the pricing function, I created something that's first of its kind. It's a simple system where you're just rewarded for keeping your funds locked in with the rest of the community. As people come in and out, you gain earnings based on your position size within the pool. That's it. And that's all, and that's paid with taxes in and out. That's the basis for Trumpet. Trumpet is nothing more than credits, nothing more than P4. These systems that, have been running for over 8 years across 3 blockchains, right? These are the core systems that never leave. We have Trumpet now, 5% in, 5% out. And you just earn by just keep your trunk staked there. Over time, you'll make the cost of entering, and you just sit tight. That's a great, and you're earning right now at a minimum over 50% APR. I think it's a little higher than that, but I'm just going off of what I know. By the way, we will be integrating the APR directly in the UI. We're going to show the APR right in the UI. The way we're going to do that is just integrate with Dune. Dune didn't always have API integration. Now they do. So since they have API integration, we can actually mine stats directly computed from Dune to enhance the data in the UI. I'm probably just going to add the APR, leave it at that for now, though. So, we got a lot of stuff to do before Nashville, before Bitcoin conference. So, but that APR is coming, and 50% APR on Trunk is amazing, right? So, what does that mean? That means that tools on the BNB chain are still relevant. Our liquidity on the BNB chain is still relevant. Our treasuries on the BNB chain still relevant. Elephant is still relevant. Elephant's performance is just a function of size. Size of what? Size of our community. The size of our community grows, Elephant will perform again. It's not the focus. It's not the token that you want to necessarily accumulate and hold right now. But it does play an important role in backstopping our treasury, Bertha, the Elephant treasury, which is responsible for futures liabilities. And, getting to the first piece here, futures is about the beachhead that we've already won. Futures is still one of the best performing, if not the best performing, yield engine on the blockchain. It has been running for close to 2 years now, closer to 2 years than not. And it's self-healing. It just works. The lower the price of Elephant, the faster the treasury accumulates tokens. If the reserve gets depleted, participants have to fight harder to get that juicy 5% with just a minimal commitment, 200 USD. But they do have to fight for it. That's what makes the system self-healing. Futures right now is about defense for the entire community and the platform, the protocol. We're taking a defensive posture where, if you have a futures account, it's in maintenance mode. What am I doing with my futures account? I try to use it sparingly. And I compound. If I need to use it for whatever, I use it for whatever. But I do that with the understanding that it's it's the medic, it's the auxiliary support. It's not what's on the front lines getting things done. Because it's not what people want this cycle. What people want this cycle is liquidity. What people want this cycle is liquidity. They want to be able to get in and out of tokens. They want to be able to get in and out of USDC. They want to make gains and keep it pushing at a time where the majority of retail just is not here. The majority of retail is tired. The people that are still here They're very anxious. They're very anxious. There's a lot of uncertainty here. Pretty much for any liquidity pool built on a L1 coin, there's extreme exposure to market risk and volatility. Bitcoin is exposed to Wall Street, and you're seeing Wall Street games being played. People say, why is Bitcoin going down? It's because people have puts. They have all the tools of Wall Street now, the basic tools. How many people on this call know how to options trade? Options trading is one of the most profitable businesses in the world, if you know how to do it right. Right? You can make money in any market condition, options trading. Unfortunately, when you have a global asset that the world's pumping money into, it's just ripe. It's just ripe for the picking. And that's what they're doing. That's why, as much as we have a bullish long-term outlook for Bitcoin, it only receives 10% of our deposits. Bitcoin only receives 10% of our deposits because I know what kind of games are going to be played with Bitcoin. They're going to squeeze people out. They're going to squeeze you out of your position, shake you out of position. But more importantly, it's not all nefarious. It's just that there are more stakeholders at the table. There are just more stakeholders at the table in a 5D chess game. Who would have anticipated? Well, you could have anticipated, but really, when OpenAI is working on its third, fourth major model, building out these massive data centers along with all the rest of their competition, NVIDIA's cranking out the hits. Those things are getting installed in data centers. And who in crypto gets squeezed? Miners. Miners get squeezed because their cost of electricity, the lifeblood, right, of proof of work mining. Prices going up. Prices going up. The outfits that will survive will be those miners that, like Bitcoin is not going to go away, but those miners that are running on renewable energy, those miners that are running on self-sustaining, independent, off-grid energy, those will be the winners. Don't be fooled when people say, oh, gloom and doom, it's all going to zero. All this hyperbole. No, that's BS. There will always be winners and losers. There will always be something that rises up from the ashes, or just something that's more equipped to deal with the environment. And yeah, so when everybody was saying, yeah, renewable energy, off-grid self-sustaining energy, hydrothermal, yeah, this shit matters. Which country is it, with the geothermal with the volcanoes? Is that Venezuela or Argentina? I forget. But yeah, that stuff matters. And that's why those who are prepared are going to win. Here's what I know. So let's talk about the dollar. right? Well, let's wrap up futures. But getting back to futures, defensive posture, maintenance mode. I'm not throwing $1,000 in futures when I can throw it into trunk, right? In the short to medium term. In my situation, which is different from others, my cash flow is constrained outside of the systems that I'm actually using, building, because we're the best. Unfortunately, there's nowhere to go because we're the best. Those are called good problems, by the way, people. The sooner you acknowledge that and figure out how you can leverage that fact, the better off we'll all be. Right? Futures offers the best rates in DeFi for cash equivalent, period. The way I have to play it, I'm going for X's. So as much as 182% is juicy, let's do some basic math here. It's just 182%. Okay? Trunk is on its way to doing over 20,000% from the bottom. Again. And unfortunately, Coach BT had on. If certain knuckleheads weren't trying to play us, we'd all be doing a lot better now. But you know what? I will never turn down a second bite at the apple. I will never turn down a second bite at the apple. So to be able to accumulate more trunk around 50 cents, I live for that. I live for that. At least in my leverage position, I've doubled my bag. I've doubled my bag of trunk. I've doubled my bag of trunk. And I'm playing the game that I've given you. I'm playing it well. I want everyone to play it well. But I've given you the game. This is end game. This is Michael Saylor stuff. We're going to talk about it. Okay? So futures is 182%. You know, if you hyper compound, you try to compound more, that's going to maybe get you to 300%. But you got to work hard to get that 300% versus understanding that when we zoom all the way out, we're taking a defensive posture here because the battle is not on BNB chain. The battle is on Salana. The battle is not on BNB chain. The battle is on Salana. And it's because we have a very profitable business. We have a very profitable business on Solana. We have a very, an amazing opportunity with Trunk. And we have a profitable business on Salana. And that profitable business is I'm going to be very clear. And I need you guys to not get upset. A lot of you guys are way too emotional. But I'm going to be very clear. The Solend pool, the Trunk USDC pool, is a better business than futures for a number of reasons. And we're going to get into it. But just simply put, it's a better business. How? Because Trunk is one of the best assets known to man. And we're already proving that. The community owns 50% of Trunk. That means that you're already in position. The community owns 50% of Trunk just in the trumpet pool. That's not counting for the Trunk that's in wallets. That's not counting for trunk that's in Solend pool. That's not counting for trunk that's, though I don't suggest it, but there are some people doing in the main liquidity pools as well. The community holds and owns this token just like they held and owned Elephant. So I'm gonna say right off the bat, do not make the same mistakes as you made with Elephant, because you only get so many at-bats. You only get so many at-bats. 3 strikes and you're out. Do you understand? At the end of the day, we're all grown here. At the end of the day, nobody in the world is your mama, your papa. And if you goof around in this money game, you're going to find out. So we got to work as a team. We have to work as a well-oiled machine. Now, I got you to endgame, but endgame is in your hands. Now, I'm going to be doing some really baller shit to help get us over the finish line. But I can't do that if you guys don't play ball. There's no amount of, well, there's some things I can do, but you're not going to like it. So outside of that, the easiest thing that you can do is to play ball. All right. So number one, where have we covered so far? Talked a little bit about the macro environment. We didn't go too deep into that, but just some basic things to understand. Futures, Elephant, defense. We're holding that position. We're holding that position. It's a hold. If you own Elephant, hold it. It's not worth selling it at these levels. You do more harm than good to yourself and to the protocol. Well, what if I don't have any money? What if I'm tapped out? And what if and all I have is my Elephant and trunk is flying up and I'm missing out? The truth is, somewhere people are on the spectrum somewhere between doing the perfect plays and doing the suboptimal plays. For somebody that says something like that, where were you when trunk was 4 cents? And I was saying get trunk at 4 cents. Where were you? All right. So we can't cry over spilt milk. There is never a time when I told anyone that they should quit their job for elephant money. Never. Ever. Why? Because cash flow is king. Your job, your skills will always create that next dollar that can be invested. And that's one of the things that people can't take away from you. Your ability to just create a dollar with your own skills and competency is something that no one can ever take away from you. That's why I still work every day hard for you. I exercise all my skills across the board. For me personally, things are kind of scary. You know, I really have to step back up and be a strong executive because there's a finish line in sight for the coding. There's a finish line in sight for the coding. As a matter of fact, it's a very strong finish line for the coding. Don't forget, trunk is renounced. There's nothing I can code for trunk right now that will make trunk uniquely better that I can't code for any token in the world. Existing, not existing. It's fully renounced. There's nothing special I can do. And trunk only had one capability, which was the mint function anyway. So the only thing I could do is mint more trunk into existence. And I exercised that capability when folks were migrated from Stampede. When folks were migrated from Stampede to Trumpet. That's when I exercised that capability. Right? Since then, trunk is fully renounced. You can't mint any more trunk. Right? Trunk is deflationary. So, Solend, I just had to work with a couple of teams. Had to make some business deals. It was nothing crazy. Didn't have to offer any money or anything. The guys on Solend, or the guys on Salana in general, are way more open, way more inclusive, way more free, younger, all that. Like, they don't mind just getting work done. They want to help. They believe in what they're doing, right? And they believe what they're doing versus EVM and all the copycats, Ethereum and all the copycats. So the L2s, like running the L2 is a lazy man's game. You know, trying to really shake up the system and take it to the next level. When it's Solana, that's hard work. That takes conviction. So it's some great people that run a lot of the infrastructure that we depend on the Salana side. Working more closely with our friends at Etherscan to get some data cleaned up. A good chunk of our data is clean though. If you go to SolScan and look at the trunk wormhole, there's a bunch of copies. That sucks. Our logo is inconsistent in the UI. That sucks. But our price, our holders, all that stuff, our circulating supply, that's all good. That's all very good. And that's really important when people want to do their research and they see that Solend is the largest lending platform. Well, second largest to Camino. But Camino is geared only to blue chips. You have a loan to value of 10% for altcoins, which means that if we tried to build out a pool on Camino, we would get no TVL because you can't work with 10% LTV. The other thing is, what's the other thing? The other thing is we're bigger. Our pool is bigger than the whole altcoin market on Camino by like 3 times, 3x. So it's a joke. So their altcoin market, Camino's not doing anything to help communities that have a token. They're not doing anything to help that. And as a matter of fact, I think they're geofenced as well. So that means Solend is it. And guess what? Solend has like 230 million. Actually, I don't know if that's right. By Solend's account, it says that the TVL is over 300 million. By DeFi Llama's account, it's 232. So there's something interesting going there. DeFi Llama never disappoints there in terms of sandbagging numbers. What's the other thing? Camino is basically reported at a little under $1 billion in TVL. I want us to blow that out of the water with just our pool alone. As I said before, Solend has its main pool has 232 million. Okay, 232 million. I want our pool to eclipse the main pool on Solend. That means we have to get to over 300 million. And I think we can easily do that by just increasing the value of Trunk itself, but also making a concerted effort to attract people to the USDC lending business, which is very attractive. We know this from futures that business is attractive. What you give up in APR, you get back in automated compounding, and the ability to withdraw your money, withdraw your funds, whatever percentage of your funds. As a USDC lender, being able to withdraw whatever percentage of your funds that you need to, if you need to. And there's a number of reasons why that is. The attractive rates when a lot of things are going to shit. Some people with a lot of things, with the volatility, the flatness this year, you know, some people are still majorly up, and they're just going to want to go to cash for a bit until things warm up a little bit. And that's where we come into play. And that's what one of our ads will be on SolScan. So we're buying ads again with EtherScan. They're gonna help us fix some of the data, and we're gonna be promoting that Trunk USDC pool. So before I get too much deeper into that, futures as a hold, elephant as a hold. When I say futures as a hold, I mean if you're running your plays, if you built up your futures account, definitely compound with the 200. If I had $1,000 and I had to choose between the two, I would just buy Trunk. And I would definitely make sure my futures account stays in good standing, that I'm making that 0.5% a day by basically adding that $200 based on whatever the base yield is doing. So that's number one. And by the way, just with that, just keeping your futures accounts in good standing, we do that as a herd. Futures is fine, right? Because we have it in maintenance mode. We're holding so that we can focus on building, basically putting all that power and strength at the tip of the spear with Trunk, because we smartly realize as businessmen and women that you only can sell so many stories, and you don't want to confuse new people coming in. And so for the people that are here, you understand what futures is. If you're trying to oversell futures versus just getting somebody to buy some Trunk, you're doing it wrong. Okay? They'll figure all that out in their own time. You definitely want to tell them about Trumpet, like, hey, when you want to buy some Trunk, you want to check the price on Salana, you want to check the price on BNB chain. It's going to be pretty close, but if you're buying big, you might want to go through the extra effort of buying on BNB chain. And then you can bridge over to Salana if you want to participate, and you should participate in Solend. All right. So before I continue, are there any questions on futures? Any questions on futures? Now's the time. Else I'll just move on. And we have 62 people. Nobody with a question on futures. All right, good. Now, let's talk about, how am I doing on sound? Just a quick sound check.
Yes, it's all right.
All right, good. All right, so let's talk about the start of the show. Good times. We're killing it. See, I'm not that guy. I'm not gonna blow smoke. I'm not gonna like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm almost 50 years old. I'm a Gen Xer. My bosses were boomers and stuff. I'm sorry. I'm tough. I'm tough. I get stuff done because I'm tough. Take a beating, take a lick and keep on ticking, right? That's me. So, sorry. I don't have frills on the edges. Sorry. Okay. Start of the show. Trunk. What about trunk? Remember when it used to be, what about trunk? It's always like, what about something? But that's the benefit. We have a business that we're running. We have the ability to pivot. We're not a one-trick pony. But we do have core values. Our core value is cash is king, cash flow is king. Bitcoin is nice, but cash is king, cash flow for all. That's what we're doing here. We stick to those core tenets, and then we don't make mistakes. And if we do make mistakes, we course correct. Do you know how many trunk SOL liquidity pools I made on Salana? I was like, before I lock this liquidity, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? Do I want to get on the Salana roller coaster of price? I'll take the speed. Shit, I'll even take the outages, but do I want to take Solana rugging us? How BNB rugged us? Solana is the same thing almost. It's different, but the same. You know, Solana doesn't have an FTX anymore, right? It's not tied at the hip to some really strong exchange business, even though FTX wasn't that strong. It was all bluster. Okay. But it's not tied to that anymore. But it's still really good technology when it works. And you have to understand what you're asking for of the technology. And then once you do that basic risk assessment, then you know whether it's a good bet or not, you know? So we want fast, we want cheap, we want good technology, we want good development teams, we want development teams that have a broader worldview. I will say that. You know, we need to have development teams with a broader, fresher worldview that haven't been beaten up by this extended debate about regulation and whether there's a place for DeFi and digital assets at all that nonsense. Many of us, most of us, you know, have been in crypto for longer than just a second. You know, I know who my community is, right? So we've been here for a while. We're a little tired, and most of us have at least one gray hair. You know, so we're going to change that, or maybe we're not. You know, if it all goes well, we'll have people from all around the world, all demographics, basically understanding a very simple business model which is borrow and lending, which is collateral, which is store of value, which is cash flow. And we got a lot of like in our squad of products, we have a lot of product services that have made the cut that will stand the test of time. Elephant token being one of them. The unlimited NFTs being one of them. Futures, not sure about futures, but I'll say for now, if futures goes out, it'll be because it was retired gracefully and beautifully, and not because it died on the vine or anything like that. But let me do some basic math for you. Let me understand why. Let me help you understand why. If anyone's pushing and pulling on why we need to focus 100% on trunk, why futures, you use futures how you want to use futures, but you understand that you're leaving money on the table if you don't participate in the trunk game. And you understand that us rowing together in the trunk game is orders of magnitudes more profitable than what you'll get by yourself in futures. Because futures allows you to run your own race. Let's be clear. Futures allows you to run your own race. That's why I built futures, because I was sick of people not being able to run their own race in DeFi. That's what futures does. It collects all of that economic energy, but at the same time, it allows people to be personally accountable for how they want to run their race. And that's what people love about it. That's what they love about it. But guess what? If you look at those lending markets, they help you run your own race too. It's more complicated, but not that complicated. And you get to plan as well. You want the easy button? Just lend USDC. Buy a little bit of trunk. Don't borrow anything. There's a lot of people in that position. A lot of people who love futures are in a position where I'm not even touching my futures right now. All I do is add to my futures. All I do is compound my futures. I don't do anything other than grow my nest egg. Guess what? Sounds like you're a USDC lender. Sounds like you're just someone that buys a decent bag of trunk, maybe adds to that as well. You can decide whether you want to put it in Trumpet or whether you want to put it in the Solend pool. I will say, for everyone putting their trunk in the Solend pool, even if you're not borrowing, you still can put it there. You can buy your trunk on Salana for the convenience, and you can still put it in the Solend pool for the eyeballs. I'm gonna call the Guinness Book of World Records. I want to find out what the largest community bank is in the world. And if there isn't one, it's gonna be us. Do you understand what endgame looks like? It's about attention. The code works. There's code that has always worked. Many of us have always used platforms like Aave, like Venus, like Compound. We've used those platforms to great effect on chain. Now, through decentralized finance, through Salana, that's more permissionless than the Ethereum folks, right? More permissionless than the BNB chain folks, right? I'm a BNB chain Martian. Why is our circulating supply not properly listed everywhere? Why aren't we? Yeah, because they don't care. Well, these builders on Salana, they care. And I'm happy to let them do the work, because I've taken this community pretty far. I've made millionaires in this community, So, and a lot of people have a lot more financial stability because of what's been done to date. But where we are with the Solend pool is endgame. This is the business. This is banking. This is what it actually looks like. Congratulations. You guys, if you hear my voice, you made it. If this is the first time you hear my voice, congratulations, you're still early. If you listen to this 2 years from now, that's because this might be included in the documentary we're going to produce. Talk about that at the end. But the game is attention now. The business is best damn utility coin in the world. Are we a meme coin? Not really. If you look at the description of what Trunk is on CoinMarketCap, if you click about on the CoinMarketCap page, it basically says utility token, cross-chain utility token, uses collateral, blah blah blah. That's what Trunk is. It doesn't mention meme coin. The logo doesn't look like it's a meme coin. Okay. But we can add Trunky and stuff for promotional purposes. Hey, we'll do whatever it takes. Now, okay. So Trunk lives on BNB chain. It lives on Salana. The Trunk USDC pools on Salana are on Meteora and Radium. That liquidity is protocol owned. The protocol is not doing any further liquidity building. We are building single-sided liquidity in the Trunk turbine on the BNB chain and in the Solend Trunk USDC pool in the lending and borrowing pool on Salana in Solend, right? The liquidity on BNB chain is in our legacy Trunk BUSDC pool, which is still supported on chain by BNB chain and Binance, and just the general DeFi community. We will be the largest holder of BUSD when all is said and done. You have to be able to look at graphs and just see where the trend is going. Sometimes there's a trend change, but sometimes it's just you have to understand the system that's driving the graph, right? So looks like elephant's going to die, but no, that is absolutely not the case. That is absolutely not the case. I will be buying elephant, just not now. Okay, so back to Trunk. So, and then we're in the Trunk WBNB LP. So those are our liquidity pools on BNB chain. Okay. Now, and some of you who are inquisitive, actually looking on chain to see what's happening, you might have seen that we're doing quite a bit of market making on both sides of the chain. We've been able to catch so far. I should probably talk about that first. All right, so part of getting everything set up on the Salana side, once we started making the relationships with the infrastructure providers, kind of planning out what we actually wanted to achieve on Salana side, what the destination was, which was Solend, then we had to make it make sense. You can't make anything in finance make sense if you don't have size, if you don't have liquidity. If you want to build liquidity, you have to have liquidity. You know, money begets money. There are very few other ways to make that work without. You need capital. So we also built the Savannah token, which I'm not going to talk about now. But we have Savannah. It's a proxy for trunk ownership. Trunk is the tip of the spear. If trunk does not work, we're dead in the water. We will not do anything this cycle. Bad things will happen if we miss this cycle. I probably didn't talk too much about that because I know you guys get upset. But let's just suffice to say, if we didn't have trunk, I think most of you get it. Like, we'd be dead in the water. We'd just be watching the herd dump elephant to infinitum, getting to levels that we're probably at now anyway. And it would be ugly. But we don't have that problem because you have me. And just want you to remember that. So, at the same time, we have Savannah House because I'm not going to always be here. So that's why I work my ass off while I'm still here. You get it? So that's how the real world works, folks. Have some kids, you'll understand. You have to sacrifice, you have to work hard. Tomorrow's not promised. Now, where are we going with this? Okay, so Savannah, we had to make some votes because after we get everything set up, we still have to fund everything so that things work. Like, you see that we're doing a significant amount of market making on the Salana side. We're also coupling that with some market making on the BNB side as well. But bottom line is that just by nature of the way we've engineered the pump and the way we're leveraging the market making tools that are freely available on Solana, by the way, it's driving volume and driving tokens through arbitrage. We're not doing all the arbitrage. That's natural. That's people participating in the market. Now, not all arbitrage is good, and that's a liquidity leak. So some of that has been addressed by doing just a little bit of market making on the BNB side to make it make sense. But I think right now we're in a pretty happy space. And I think you can actually see on the chart where once we closed up that arbitrage, tighten that up a little bit, the chart looks a lot better. Chestnut checkers, right? You gotta respond to what's going on. Hey, these guys are feasting. That was okay when we were building liquidity, by the way. When we were building liquidity, we wanted the tokens to get over to the Solana side. We wanted weekends to get rid of trunk before it really runs. So when we were building liquidity and learning from, okay, how is the community, how is the broader community going to respond to elephant money moving a lot of their liquidity around? How are they going to try to capitalize on it? Well, we watched, we learned, and we did so at a time where, hey, we'll happily take your trunk tokens on the cheap. So that's something I can reveal now because we got them. So we got them. And if you want to get them, because if everybody was playing ball, we would be at $2 by now. Just math. No predictions, just basic math. We'd be at $2 by now. But we're not. And that's because some people fell for the bait, let go of their valuable trunk tokens that are sitting there on the floor for you to pick up right now. And if you see what Savannah House is doing, if you see what good old BT is doing, we are picking up those trunk tokens hand over fist. So don't get mad at me when you're like, oh, how'd you get all those tokens? I'm like, I bought them. I bought them from you. When you panic sold, when you paper handed, cabbage handed, or somebody else did. Or the swing traders dumped too soon, ing'd it. All of that. That's how I got cheap tokens that I can actually afford. Because I even personally can't afford to buy up a crap ton of multi-dollar tokens. But I can for damn sure leverage position to own sub $1 tokens. Are you kidding me? Why is Trunk still sub $1? When it's the number one pool, the second to the main pool on Solend? How? How is it still under $1? Oh, it's because the community has trauma, but that's fine because we've been here a long time. We've been through a lot, but there's people that go to war that have PTSD, and there's people that go to war who don't. And I'm sorry for the people who do have PTSD, but even if you do have PTSD, get a therapist, keep it pushing, and make some money. Make some money, because now is the time. I can say all this because my sister is a Marine, a cop, a reservist. So I'm not trying to offend our men and women in uniform, but it's just an example. Tough as nails, folks. Tough as nails, folks. You will make it. Tough as nails, you will make it. I have lots of cops in my family. I think I have that gene as well. I'm tough. All right. All right. So, yeah, Trunk is cheap, and Trunk is a great business model on Solend. So there's two ways you can make money on Solend. I think we covered one, which is just throw cash in it, throw USDC in it, sit back, relax. You're gonna get all that interest. You're gonna get these major pumps when the interest goes up to like 200%, 300% on the supply side. You're gonna get all those pumps. You're gonna get the average of all of the interest rates that you see in the UI itself. You can see how much you've earned. You click account one. You can see. You can also you can look at the average APR based on 24 hours, 7-day, 30-day, 90-day. You can see what the average APR looks like. That average APR, last time I checked, was like 53%. That's on cash. That's fairly liquid for the majority of you guys. The majority of you guys are, minnows, crabs, dolphins, and stuff like that. You'll be able to get in and out, no problem, right? And for bigger players, you should be wise enough to. There's a rule for this, but in general, you don't want to be more than 10% of the money that's in a pool. You can be, but you want to have conviction and you want to have long-term time horizons. I think that's fine. Let me explain why that's fine. I think why would a very large of size whale participant want to throw a lot into the USDC side? Well, one, best APRs on the planet. Two, our liquidity. So when liquidations happen, those liquidations aren't going to happen on chain. Those liquidations are the pricing is handled by Switchboard or Oracle, right? So we have a Oracle that we pay for, runs on chain. Switchboard is an awesome company. Awesome company, awesome protocol. Basically, you can pretty much implement all kinds of on-chain oracles, and you can run arbitrary functions as well, because they support like running Docker, which allows you to pretty much run anything that you can think of on-chain. So awesome utility, awesome protocol. We use that for our Oracle, which integrates with Solend. So that Oracle is figuring out price based on what we have in our liquidity pools, and it's also doing it in a weighted fashion. So across our liquidity pools on Radium and Meteora. So that works really well. Our liquidity is backed by USDC. What people are lending out is USDC. What people are borrowing is USDC. People can only borrow, folks can only borrow 75% of the value of their trunk tokens, which are backed by USDC. So when liquidations happen, guess what? USDC is released. So it's all like for like, and it's all cash based. So if a liquidation does happen, like say somebody just borrows 75% of the worth of their trunk tokens and then just walks away, well, you have their trunk tokens, which are still being market maked by Savannah House, by effectively the working arm of the community. So there's only a few things. There's only one thing that can tank trunk, and it's not the market. Outside of extreme smart contract risk, which is not there for the most part. There's always some small percentage, but it's not there. Okay. And when I was designing the trunk USDC pool, I had the choice of, are people going to be able to use Salana as collateral? Wouldn't that be nice? We could have trunk, Salana, and USDC. That sounds beautiful. No, because when Salana hits the fan, or even if Salana just moons, like let's just say Salana just moons. If Salana just moons, the Salana suppliers in the pool, their value would go up. They'd borrow all the USDC in the pool to try to hypercompound Solana, or just take out a loan that they're not going to pay for a very long time. The Solana people, if we built up a mountain of USDC, if we built up a mountain of USDC, risk-free USDC, right? If we were the number one go-to place, this is one of the goals. We're in end game. I'm telling you, because we can do it. We have connections that others don't have. When I say I'm, MIT alum, some of the people I went to class with, some of my friends, MIT professors now, run major companies. I don't talk about it because of, it's their privacy. I respect their privacy. But you can figure out who I went to school with. All right, I'll drop one because he actually was interviewed on Lex Friedman. Manolis Kellis is one of the most decorated computer scientists in history. I used to get mad at him all the time because I thought he was too cozy with my girlfriend. And in later life, he probably actually is. He's married, he has kids, he's fine. But yeah, he was actually interviewed on Lex Fridman podcast, not once, twice. He hit me up a couple years ago. I should have responded. I stopped tracking his career when he was running Android at Google. But, now he's professor, doing all kinds of great stuff, melding bioinformatics, AI with biology. He's one of the guys that's going to help us live forever. So, Manolo Scales, great guy. Good family. So, knew his brothers and stuff as well. But yeah. And I'm not even going to talk about what my ex-girlfriend did, but she did some amazing stuff too. All right, getting back to this. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about, okay, so we're talking about trunk. We're talking about trunk, okay? And yeah, so, okay, Solana Moons, Solana is everyone. Solana's not just, this guy keeps on running around in circles on one of the main streets in Providence with his noisy ass motorcycle. Oh my God. I have to go on a side street because of him. All right, so what will happen is if you build this huge USDC business, this big pool of USDC that people can borrow, and it's and Salana is one of the options for deposit, you'll have everyone and their mama depositing in Salana to borrow cash, probably won't get it back for a long time, and it doesn't benefit trunk. It doesn't benefit the trunk holders. So if you want USDC, you gotta borrow with trunk. Or if you want to do something crazy, like deposit USDC and borrow at the same time, that's just dumb because you're paying the difference in the interest. And there's some reasons to do that though. Like you want to be if you can deposit trunk and you can deposit USDC, but if in that scenario, you're probably just a USDC lender. Or actually, when you deposit trunk and USDC, that means that you're a USDC lender and you might actually be a trunk borrower. Because one of the crazy things that you can do that you can't do anywhere else on the planet is that there's a secondary market or a primary market that actually earns higher yield on trunk, but doesn't allow you to put up trunk as collateral. And that is trumpet staking. You can stake trunk in trumpet for well over 50% APR. You get only like you get less than 1% APR on the Solend side. But what you can do is you can put your trunk in Solend, have the optionality to borrow USDC if you need to, and you can borrow trunk against your trunk, in which case you can borrow. I don't suggest you borrow up to 75%, but you can because the price is because you're exchanging. You have to repay tokens and not dollars. And dollar value is only used comparing one asset to another. But at the end of the day, you have to pay back the tokens and not the dollar value. It's just that the dollar value for USDC tracks very closely to $1, and the dollar value of everything else is variable. So that's what's actually going on. But anyway, one profitable strategy is to deposit trunk, borrow trunk, supply trunk, borrow trunk, and then put that trunk into, send it back cross chain using Portal Bridge, and put it into Trumpet, and where you can earn yield. What's the downside of that? You lose agility, and you have to pay that 5% fee. So I don't particularly like that strategy unless I'm going to send some trunk over for the super long term. And I have done that. I have borrowed a chunk of trunk, sent it over to Trumpet for the super long term. And that's just to capture the volatility of people coming in and out of Trumpet. So I want to have exposure to yield on Trumpet. But my personal strategy is to use trunk as collateral and borrow USDC, buy more trunk, rinse and repeat. Keep all of my tolerances low though, and that's something that I'm actively doing now versus later. Like, I don't want to be doing this when trunk is like super duper sky high. As a matter of fact, like, market making. So we are doing market making. Savannah House is doing market making. Market making in a healthy market, and our market is kind of just like us. Our market is us and who we can attract. Like, I want you guys to understand that. Why when the rest of the market's red, trunk is up? Why is that? It's because I've engineered this to be us. This is the largest community bank. And that means that I have to use all the tools that are available to the world, but I have to engineer those tools in concert to create an environment that works for us and works for anyone who wants to be us, who wants to join the herd. Okay? So at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. Like any bank in the world, we are measured by our balance sheet, by our TVL, by our assets under management. All names for basically the same thing, right? Our economic attention. So you don't have to have a lot of people to have high economic attention. But the game that we are playing is economic attention, where the per capita value of each participant is orders of magnitude higher than anywhere else. And it's because we are dependent on the behaviors of us as the herd, and we're not dependent on what's going on in the macro environment. There's a major risk macro environment. There is a major risk. And I'm going to tell you now, that's that the United States goes to zero. And that absolutely is not going to happen. Because even though the world is in digital assets and DeFi, nobody's talking about EU stablecoins. The BRICS stablecoin definitely is not going to do anything. Even with these Arab countries, divesting from pricing oil in dollars and stuff like that. Well, guess what? Stablecoins are the 12th largest buyer of U.S. treasuries, short-term treasuries, okay? Dollar equivalents. And that's just going to get bigger. And there's going to be this community bank called Elephant Money that runs on these old crusty chains, Salana and BNB, but it's just going to be like all those other banks that are old and crusty and been running for 100 years plus. Do you get it? Like, we have all the technology we need. What we need now is more than ever is community. That's it. All we need is community. All we need is organization. All we need is each one teach one, and we make it. Right? All right. So that's enough of me. Let's take some questions. Anybody have questions about Salana, Meteora, Radium, Solend, the Trunk USDC pool on Solend, Trunk itself? Not concerned about price, other than price is moving, and you should not be standing on the sidelines because.
ABP, I got a question.
Yeah.
I have some Trunk Solana on the Meteor pool, just a little bit, but just have exposure to that and have it build my Savannah tokens, and it's paying like 0.52%. Do you think it's worth keeping a little bit in there, even though the volume is low, or I'll probably just put it all into the Solend?
Which pool do you have it in again?
The Savannah Trunk pool, and I'm doing it also to get some of the airdrop they might do too for the Meteor.
Right. The airdrops aren't going to pay out as much as the price appreciation for Trunk. Let's be real. Let's be real. So, like, whatever you do, just don't miss out on that. Savannah is a proxy, a voting proxy. That's meant for, if you own Trunk, you sacrifice some of your Trunk to gain voting power. You stake that voting power. For example, I have voting power that's in the form of Savannah that's staked in the DAO, and I'm probably just gonna let that sit there. Like, I'm not. I've written that money off, right? I have another chunk of Savannah that I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but what I have been doing with it is just letting go a little bit of that here and there, so that people can accumulate voting power at a cheap price. And we have more votes that are coming, by the way, guys, but we don't have any scary votes. Like, the scary votes were front loaded. The legal vote has passed, by the way. I haven't executed it, but it has passed. So we'll probably have like one final withdrawal from Bertha for the year for 250K, and that's it. After that, probably going to announce what I'm doing with Bertha, but similar to how Trunk was renounced, Bertha herself will be renounced. There'll be a proxy. There'll be a proxy contract so that futures can still talk to Bertha. All the current governance contracts that are running will to continue to run in their current state. So, for example, the buy and burn function for Trunk, that sends the Trunk to a burn address instead of actually calling the burn function on the Trunk token. I'm going to leave that as is because I want to leave the total supply as fixed and the max supply as fixed. And, the tools, CoinMarketCap, they have no problem recognizing the burn address as a burn address. So that I'm not going to change that governance function. So anyway, getting back to Savannah, everyone should, if you own Trunk, you should own some Savannah. The way that I've done it is I own Trunk, I own Savannah. My Savannah is perma-staked in the DAO, and I don't think about the price of it. The whole point is Savannah works really well when everyone in this community wants to have a voice and vote. How strong you want your voice, how strong you want your voice to be is just a function of how much you're willing to put behind that. Put your money where your mouth is, right? Like that's we're not playing troll games. We're not playing these juvenile games on Twitter. We're about money. This is a business. We're all owners. We all put our money where our mouth is. We understand that votes are based on voting power, based on how many shares you own, how much capital you put up, period. Like we didn't make the rules. We're just playing them. Don't hate the player, hate the game. So, but yeah, so with all that said, there's way more money to be made in the Solend pool. There's way more money to be made in Trunk. If you just, whatever you're earning in the SVN Trunk pool, you could easily earn way more than that in the Solend pool. Whether you're in USDC, whether you're, lending and borrowing, all that good stuff. So what I'm doing, at the end of the day, everyone does what they want to do. But what I'm doing is, I bought a certain amount of SVN. I think it's like 13% of the supply. I bought that, that's how much I'm willing to put up of my capital that's in Trunk. And I use that for voting, and that's it. It's for voting. SVN is for voting. The SVN token. Oh, so the Savannah logo, the Savannah token logo, that will be on the front shirts for the event, for the Savannah House event in Nashville. On the back of the shirts will be a Savannah token Bitcoin logo. How do you say that? A Bitcoin Savannah, a Savannah token inspired Bitcoin logo. I think it's a little confusing. I have to figure out which way it goes, but on the back with some signage on the back, so that to commemorate, that we were all there and where we were and stuff like that. So something like Savannah House, Bitcoin 2024 meetup, something like that. Nashville, Tennessee, 2024, something like that. All right. So long answer, but what else is new? Next question.
Hey, BT, I have a question.
Yep.
So in the interest of each one, teach one. I think one of the strengths of futures was that I was able to say, here's a recipe, and then this is what you can expect. So what is the narrative for the borrowing and lending? And if you're telling me, well, you can't really be that precise in the expectations that you promise, that is okay. I'm trying to find what is the best story that I can ramp up on socials for this new focus and this new business.
I think so. The people who are USDC owners, they know that game, because everybody wants their money. Everybody wants everyone in DeFi wants USDC. So, and the people who have USDC, whales, they're just going to go where their money is treated the best. Solend being the number one lender, you don't have to. They'll find us no problem. They'll find us no problem. They know where to go. Solend is the leading marketplace, and especially as we sort of market to just the broader community, though, there are going to be people who are in DeFi. They have shit coins that aren't honored as collateral. It's like, why would I hold this thing that's not honored as collateral when I can get this other thing, Trunk, and I can hold it, I can borrow against it. I played that game a zillion times if I've been in DeFi for a while. So like all those doors open up, and I'm doing that on an asset that's at its bottom. Bitcoin is arguably at the top. Trunk is definitely at the bottom of where it's going to go, you know? So, so I think if we have two types of, if we're just talking about retail people though, and if we're just talking about mom and pop type of people, they have two ways that they can go with this thing. If you have your cash sitting somewhere like here, you can have it sitting here and just earn more. You can earn 20%. You want to earn, best case scenario, you want to earn 5% from Coinbase, or do you want to take that same USDC and earn 20% in the Solend pool? So that satisfies the person that wants low risk. You know, it's auto compounding. It's all that stuff. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to touch it. You can come back to it whenever you want. You know, it has a lot of upside and it's easier to explain than say futures, right? And getting on chain and just getting that done, you know, you can get it done in 5 minutes. It's like, say you want to do less than $500, like on a credit card, you can have somebody set up soup to nuts in 5 minutes, right? So that's something that you can't do with futures, right? Right. So futures, like I said, futures in maintenance mode. So don't even talk about it. If you're talking to new people, don't even talk about it. We know what we need to do for futures. The ones, when I say we here, and we here are enough to sustain futures. Between us and Savannah House, us as individuals, plus Savannah House, we know what we need to do to sustain futures. It's not like futures was growing crazy like gangbusters anyway. You know, you might get a couple of new people, whatever. So, and let me speak clearly to that. Just we're at 8 million plus in the in the Trunk USDC Solend pool. We're at 8 million plus in less than a month, less than 3 weeks, right? 8 million plus. We're gonna have a bigger business. This Solend USDC is gonna be a bigger business in 90 days than Trunk ever was. So that's what's coming. I mean, sorry, not Trunk. Sorry, futures. Than futures ever was. Like, so that, like, to speak very clearly, you should not be scared of success. But that's what success looks like. What does success look like? What was Apple's #1 product before they invented the iPhone? That's what success looks like. You have to create the next innovation, else your competitor will. You have to make your whole business obsolete or less important overnight by innovating, else your competitor will. And your whole business, everything you do will be obsolete. Either you innovate, either you out innovate yourself and everyone else, or you go into the bin, the garbage bin. Else you're completely ignored. There always needed to be something that was better than futures. We all knew what that was from the very beginning. That was Elephant token being honored as collateral. After Elephant token is honored as collateral, it's very easy for us in the short to medium term to just run it up because it's at the bottom. But because the world is unforgiving and unpredictable, we have Trunk instead, which is actually prime better for the job, right? Has a lot of things going for it that I did not intend. I did not intend for Trunk to be a deflationary token, but it is, right? So, but it is. So keep it simple. Keep it simple. because most people aren't bankers. So if they want and it's not an either or thing. That's the beautiful thing about the Solend pool is so flexible. And the more comfortable you get in DeFi, more advanced you get. It's like a skateboard, you know? It's like a BMX bike. You can just ride it, or you can get jiggy with it if you're really good. You know, you can do all kinds of things and make yourself at the Olympic level, right? Skateboarding is an Olympic sport, right? So it's everything in between, right? So if you just want to earn more on cash, you take some USDC, you throw it in to the Solend pool as a supplier, and you just chill. You don't do anything else. That's all you have to do. That's the most risk-free profile. What's the second most risk-free profile? You can just buy some trunk. You can just buy some trunk, and you can throw it into the Solend pool and still do nothing. What are you achieving there? Well, you're earning like a little baby APR. You're earning like what the bank gives you, 0 point something %, but it's on trunk, which is growing, and you're contributing to the billboard sign that says, we're the largest community bank in the world, and we run on Solend, on trunk, which is cross-chain, da-da-da-da-da, right? Then the next thing you can be is someone who is a supplier of trunk and USDC. And actually, you know what? I'll stop right there. Because as far as your question goes, it's those two things. So to keep it really simple, you can either buy trunk, you can use the Solend pool to buy trunk, supply it, borrow USDC, buy some more trunk, keep your utilization low, keep it below 50%. You can do that. You can use a little bit of leverage from the Solend pool to grow your trunk. If you are concerned about low risk cash earnings, you can deposit your USDC. You can do one of those things or both of those things. That's it. That's the whole conversation. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Keep them on Salana. Let the big boys worry about doing the cross-train stuff. And let's go for lots of people, lots of community members able to. It's not that you can explain it; it's that they can explain it. So let's keep it simple. So is it really even about the rinse and repeat? No, it's about you can buy this asset that's growing called trunk. It's very similar to things that you've heard of like Doge or SHIB. Or WIF that have grown a lot. The difference is that you can use this thing called our trunk USDC Solend pool. It allows you to borrow against your trunk. So instead of selling your trunk, you can deposit it there and you can borrow a little bit of USDC if you want to buy your wife a nice dinner or if you have a small emergency. You don't have to let go of your trunk. That's one of the things that makes trunk really valuable. And that's one of the reasons why trunk go only up. And the other main reason why trunk only go up is because all the liquidity on Salana is backed by USDC. That's the whole narrative for why people should just, as quickly as possible with their Phantom wallet, buy some trunk. And then, if they really are curious, you can say, and if you do have some cash on the side, you can also earn pretty high yields just on cash if you want to. That's just like the secondary narrative, because USDC lenders, they know they didn't get a lot of USDC not knowing. They got a lot of USDC that they can put up to earn yield on because they do know. All right, next question.
Can you explain again why Trunk is slightly deflationary, and also is there a limit to that where it would stop being deflationary?
It's deflationary as long as people are, well, as long as the elephant treasury has value, it's deflationary because the elephant treasury buys and burns Trunk. So that's what makes it deflationary. So elephant treasury is not going anywhere. Birth is not going anywhere. So, next question. Not all at once. Go ahead. Let's see. All right, let's see how many people we have here. 68 people. All right. If no questions, if anyone has a story about how much they love Trunk or the Trunk Solend pool, now's your time to share.
Hey, what's going on, BT? What's going on, everybody?
Yep.
You hear me okay? All right, cool.
What's going on?
You know I love it, man. This is powerful. You know, people that don't get it, you know, that's fine. Take your time, play with it. You know, just try to, you know, you'll get it. But I mean, if you've been in Venus before on BSC, that's where I started. I think BT, you were talking about Venus. You got me into Venus. And, you know, put my training wheels on there, and now I'm on Solend and crushing it, man. This thing is unbelievable. So, yeah. But,
right.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Nice. And what would you say your average cost basis was for Trunk?
Average cost base, I'll probably say about 5 or 10 cents. Yep.
You heard it here first.
DCA, baby. And futures since day one. Day one futures right here. So get your futures going.
And how do you personally feel about futures? Like with everything going on, you know?
Yeah, I mean, futures is amazing. I mean, you know, the biggest thing that you got to understand about futures is it's all about time. You know, like one of the biggest things that you have to understand, we're brought up in this world to spend our time to earn money. Then in futures, you have to flip it. You have to let futures have time to earn you money. You got to flip that thing around, going upside down. You know what I mean? So yeah, futures is amazing. You just gotta think about it. I can't even, you know, y'all seen my videos, like, yeah.
Yeah. I think like, you know, to your point, you know, futures is your own game. It's time based. But only you can make that crank go faster. If you want the crank to go faster, time's going to march to its own beat, you know, and you're going to just be counting the seconds, right? And then in addition, you know, the market doesn't make futures go faster or slower. The only thing that makes futures go faster is you depositing more. That's not the case with the Solend pool. You know, if you're a USDC borrower, if things are crushing it on the Trunk side and there's high demand, you know, you're going to get potentially two things. You're going to get a more liquid environment where you can easily come in and out. That's one option. Or when things are tighter, you're going to get paid more, right? And then at the same time, like I want people to really understand this because, you know, there's tons of folks that own Trunk, whales that own Trunk, whatever. I own Trunk, you know, but Savannah House is a bona fide whale or is becoming one and owns Trunk. Savannah House is market making Trunk. So, you know, when Trunk gets to these crazy heights and stuff like that, Savannah House is going to be working hard for everyone. And when I say, I specifically saying Savannah House, as in I am the current custodian, executor, builder, founder of this whole platform. But I'm not going to be here forever. I don't even want to be doing this forever. You know, like there's going to be other folks. Savannah House will be market making this thing in perpetuity. We're going to hire trustees. We're going to hire a team. We're going to, like, all that stuff. All that stuff is in the works right now. So, this is going to be professionally managed 24/7. And there's a ton of automation thanks to people like Meow and Jupiter Exchange, and Mitch, Dr. Blocks from like Switchboard and the Solend team. All these folks, they have this thing basically on rails. We have a community bank that runs at like 100% efficiency. 100% efficiency. Like, I set up some limit orders, I set up some DCAs, and I'm done. Like, I'm done for the day. Like, my market making is done for the day. So, I do that twice. I do market making for Savannah House, then I do market making for myself. Like, I participated as a market maker as well. Like, so, because for the first time, I can make money up or down for the first time because we actually have Trunk as collateral. So this is what's amazing, and this is why you guys need to not be passive, but now it's time to get active. Now it's time to get active. The easiest thing you can do is just throw some USDC in. The second easiest thing you can do, buy Trunk. Everyone should buy Trunk. If you buy Trunk, hold on to it, DCA into it, because this is giving me Bitcoin out of dollar vibes when I was actually there. Okay, so there you go. This is what I want to talk about. So just announcing this for all of you guys who stayed, all you guys here, I'm happy to announce that we will be we're going to have a documentary, and we're going to put it to a vote. But we will be producing a documentary. We will be talking to luminaries in industry, basically founders of this industry. They're all going to be in the documentary. We're going to be in the documentary. We're going to be talking about crypto. We're going to be talking about DeFi. We're going to uncover some stones, talk about what you don't hear about as well. We're going to do a world tour. What does that look like? Well, guess what? We're in attention mode now. So we're going to be at these major conferences, some that we've traditionally always been at, and new ones. And we're going to have a presence. We're going to have a presence at these The difference is we're going to have a presence at these conferences. And yeah, we're going to be filming this documentary. So we're going to be in Nashville at Bitcoin 2024. We're going to be in Atlanta at InvestFest in August. We're going to be at Breakpoint in Singapore. We're going to be at Black Blockchain Summit in Washington, D.C. We're going to be in Ireland, in Waterford, Ireland, for the Node.js Summit. A lot of what you see in Web3 is built on the backs of Web2, built on the backs of my work in financial services when Fidelity was a founding member of the Node.js Foundation, technology that is core to web services and Web3, Web2. JavaScript, basically won the race in terms of running the web. So that we're going to be there. Got a personal invite from one of the other co-founders of Node.js Foundation for that. So, Kian, good friend of mine. So all of that. What else? Oh, we're going to be going to Bali. This is like a fun little after thing after Breakpoint. So we're doing all of that, okay? And we're going to be filming all of that. And we're going to be interviewing some of the biggest names in the space and some of the names you don't even know about. But you're definitely going to hear about if they touched elephant money in any kind of way, you're going to hear about them. And lastly, they're going to hear from you. If you own a black NFT, you have a chance to appear in the documentary. So when you go to the meetup, and you have your black NFT, dress nice, because there's a chance that probably a majority of the interviews from the black NFT holders will end up in the documentary in some kind of way. Yeah, so it's just going to be about being crypto native. It's going to be about what we do, how long we've been doing it, a little bit about my personal journey, but mainly about the industry that has allowed us to get to where we are right now. Coming to Netflix 2027. Any questions on that?
Hey, that's pretty dope. I got my NFT. Scooped it up on the market.
There it is. Not wasting any time. It's like I'll be there. That's the attitude you have to have. You know, you have to this is it. It's, you know, these memes are working off of attention, right? You know, how many places do we have to film before the word gets out? You know, some of the people on the Salana side already know. They're like, we'll see you at Breakpoint. We'll see you in Singapore. They're already excited. So we're already the largest. We're the largest non-blue chip. I think Trunk is blue chip, but they'll find out. We got to get there. But even without being a blue chip, you know, our lending pool alone dwarfs all of the other a majority of alternative lending pools on Solana and anywhere else. We're in the big leagues. So we got to act like it, right? And you should be excited for winning. The fact that you're quiet is disturbing. It's part of the problem, if I'm going to be honest. Like, we have to be active. This is not TV. I know. Like, if I look at the demographics that Google says for the people coming to the website, y'all think it's TV. It's not TV. It's social media. You're not passive. You're not watching a show here. This is a back and forth. This is a back and forth. And you have to be just as active in your investment on social media as you are just making a deposit. If you want to ask what the problem is, we're going to find out real quick, because the tokenomics is no longer the problem. The software is no longer the problem. BT is no longer the problem. I have nothing to do with Solend. I made the Solend pool. Solend pool's configured beautifully. I work with the switchboard team. Oracle's configured beautifully. I wrote none of that code. Just worked with those teams. Did some basic, business to business development. Done. I'm out of the picture. Trunk's renounced. What's your excuse now? This business is the best business I've ever built. And I built many businesses. But I'm telling you that this Solend Trunk USDC pool is the best business I've ever built. And I could go away tomorrow. I could walk away tomorrow. So get active. Each one teach one. Never mattered more than it does now. Oh, but what about advertising? What about marketing? There's nobody here to market to. The people that are here now don't care about ads. They care about TVL. They care about market cap. They care about volume. These are the crypto native people that are here now. The civilians are not here. They got burnt 2 cycles ago. They're not here. And they don't have money. They ran out of money. They're tapped out. So it's gonna take working smarter, not harder. Getting active, and yes, we are buying ads. We're buying ads for the crypto natives. I'm doing ads on Voscoin. Voscoin, 600,000 plus subscribers. You know, guaranteed 1,000 plus views every video. We're doing somewhat of a working relationship with them, at least until Bitcoin 2024. And they're gonna be diving into getting the word out with us, and ads with SolScan. We work with the EtherScan team many times, so we're gonna put permanent non-CPM ads into the search bar, so that people will see the elephant trunk icon all the time. That's the kind of work we're doing. Okay? But you got to get active. Thanks to everyone who's coming to the Nashville event. We sold out of all the early birds. We're well into the rest of the pool. So if we didn't get one extra person to go to that event, it would be a packed party. But we still have tickets, so get your tickets, because one thing is, if you don't buy your ticket before the end of this week, you're not guaranteed to get a t-shirt. I'm gonna buy some surplus t-shirts. I have the t-shirt sizes. So maybe we'll add like an extra 10% to each size. But after that, if you don't get your ticket in before the end of the week, you're not going to have a t-shirt. So, what else? So we have a documentary coming. Funding for that will probably be less than $200K. That will come out of Savannah House and not Bertha. Okay. So the last funding for Bertha will be for the legal. Any other questions before I go? Because I have a hard stop. All good? So only Shankar and Crypto Mason are making money in Trunk USDC. The stats say different, so I'm surprised everybody's so quiet. The stats say a lot of people are making money in the Trunk USDC pool.
I'm making money in there. I put in 2,900 USDC, and in about 10 days made $100.
That's insane.
I know. I wished I had more USDC, but it's compounding, so I'm happy.
There it is. There it is. The numbers say different. The numbers say that this is amazing. That's what I mean, guys. Like this is like a dry rehearsal for what you guys have to do every day. Like, but like y'all have to cheerlead. You have to cheerlead the product. That's how these things go viral. That's why these little pump and dumps get so much money in them. They fail because they're not backed by a real community and stuff. But they get the attention that they need, and they compete in this social attention game because these people are loud. They might be young and dumb. They might not have a lot of money, but they're collectively loud. So we have to like, okay, do one thing for me. Get your niece, your nephew, get your younger brother into this protocol, please, because we need them. We need them. And we don't make money by, we're past the point of, these are tokenomics where you add more people, it works better. That's how futures works. That's how trunk works. That's how trunk USDC works in the Solend pool. The more people we add, the better it works. So now's the time to get loud. I'll leave it at that. I got a hard stop, but now is the time to get loud, people. All right. I'll talk to y'all later.